I work for the Irish Bioenergy Association, so we're the representative body for the bioenergy sector on the island of Ireland. So our organisation covers all of the bioenergy sectors, so solid biomass, biogas, biomethane, liquid biofuels, so your ethanol and your biodiesel, and also we have a growing membership in the biochar area. We also have members that are wood fuel suppliers and energy crop producers, but they fit into the solid biomass area. So our main job is as a representative body to work on behalf of our members, to lobby, advocate on their behalf, develop policy, but also to ensure that we address any issues that they have, issues around regulation, issues in terms of funding, finance. And then we have a broader remit with the general public and indeed a broader stakeholders. So our role in that regard is to provide information to them about the bioenergy sectors, what the contribution of the sector could be in terms of the overall renewable energy mix, because there's a lack of information out there amongst the general public about what we do as a sector, and that's our role. We also have some research and development projects. So for instance, we roll out or we work on an Interreg project on biochar. We also have a Just Transition Fund project. So there's the Just Transition Fund in Ireland. We have a project on that. And we have a European Innovation Partnership project, which is funded by the Department of Agriculture on small-scale biogas production. So overall, we have quite a variety of things happening and work going on within the organisation. It keeps us busy. So the biotransition for us is obviously a move from fossil fuels to biofuels and bioenergy and indeed renewable fuels. So we broadly support all the other renewable sectors as well, in that we all have a place and a part to play. In terms of the biotransition itself, obviously the bioeconomy is a key area of opportunity for growth of in Ireland and right across Europe. And then the bioenergy sectors themselves are a key component, in our opinion, of the bioeconomy and a key part of the biotransition. So currently, we're seeing a lot of movement towards, renewable fuels. They could be renewable solid fuels in the form of wood fuels, or indeed your biocoal from your pyrolysis biochar production, or indeed we're seeing moves and interests from industry users to move away from fossil gas to renewable gas in the form of biogas or biomethane. So that's another area of interest. And then in terms of the biotransition from a liquid fuels perspective, we are seeing an enhanced focus by the Irish government and indeed by many European governments to increase the amount of biofuel blending that takes place within your fossil fuels. Obviously, the growth of electric vehicles is taking place right across Europe. But as that growth mobilises, there is a need in the interim to decarbonise the fossil fuels that fuel the combustion engine. So our members are providing that biofuel. So we're seeing an increase in the use and production of that, and also the blending of that. So they are all areas where we are participating in that biotransition. The final area I'd point out is that farmers themselves, farmers involved in food production, are looking at diversification opportunities. They're looking at also becoming food, fuel and fibre producers. So the EU agricultural policy has pushed farmers down the food production route, but there is a need to refocus that and to actually emphasise very strongly that farmers have a key role to play in the biotransition to renewable fuels, but renewable fibres also. So they're all areas of opportunity that we envisage within the biotransition. Well, really from our organisation's perspective and indeed our members' perspective, because we are a members' organisation, it's about trying to become more mainstream in terms of and have our fair share and our contribution recognised as bioenergy producers, as bioenergy, in terms of users as well. So it's really, in Ireland in particular, we find that bioenergy has been we feel as if we're the poor relation in that the other renewable sectors have got that policy break, and our sector and industry hasn't necessarily got the same breaks from a policy perspective, because a lot of European governments have been focused on a very narrow basket of technologies in terms of the transition to renewable fuels. So we feel as if that narrow basket and that perspective will have to broaden in the near future, and that then will provide an opportunity for them to realise that bioenergy has a large part to play, and indeed the broader bio sector and the bio transition have a broader part to play. So we're looking forward to optimism. However, our members can't run on fresh air. They need support, they need funding, they need finance. So we need to see that renewed focus, and we're coming into a new election cycle now at both a European level and at an Irish level. So that indeed will bring a renewed focus and a new focus potentially, which we're looking forward to understanding what that will be, and also contributing to the development of that by lobbying the political representatives in the various parties that potentially could be in government at an Irish level, and indeed the various MEPs that could be elected at the European Parliament level as well, because they are all, the European Parliament, the European Commission and the European Council, obviously the key, the triumvirate in terms of decision making is very important. Well, challenges really is about the scale and the swiftness of the transition, and I feel in Ireland anyways we have huge targets to achieve, but the targets aren't backed up in policy by a plan to mobilise the various different sectors which the targets exist. So broadly in Ireland, it's not our sector, but offshore wind and onshore wind, there's huge targets there. There's huge targets for biomethane. So it's a case of what policy measures you should put in place to move those sectors forward to deliver. We are disappointed that the Irish government hasn't recognised the solid biomass area to the extent it could and the opportunity it presents. Now, they have recognised that forestry plays a key part in terms of an alternative land use. And obviously for forestry, it's about the production of construction timber for buildings and low carbon construction materials. But our sector, as the bioenergy sector, is a key off-taker for that thinning material, that sustainable forest management material that arises from that production. And if you don't have a biomass sector in a country, you won't have an off-taker for that material, and as a result, it will ultimately reduce the value of the final output material, which would be the construction timber. So I think that the interlinked nature of the sectors is very important, and sometimes that is not always recognised by policy.